17 years, countless voices, one studio. This is Dallas on Air, where Dallas goes to talk.
Hello, this is Adrian Carson. I'm your host. Welcome to today's episode of The Groove, a podcast about dance from every perspective, a transformational show that's just a vibe. Welcome to the couch. The Groove, sponsored by the flyest station in the nation, flyradio.com, your station for music lovers. Listen live 24 hours on flyradio.com. Download our app from the Google Play Store for talent or advertising opportunities. Please call 773-FLY-DIVA, otherwise known as 773-359-3482. Welcome to The Groove. Today is a very, very special guest for me. It's one of my favorite DJs, DJ VJ Bubba Rae. Welcome to The Groove, Bubba.
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. One of the things I want to start with is how I got to be here on Dallas on Air. So this has been a dream of mine for quite a few years, and I wanted to make sure that we had the right type of platform. Didn't want to do any of the other social media ones, and one day Bubba called me and said, "Hey, I got the perfect spot for you." And he told me about Dallas on Air. And the reason I'm calling this out is because as men, rarely do we do anything to help somebody accomplish their dreams or goals. And so I try to surround myself around the type of men and women that are about empowering others to be the very best version of themselves. So, Bubba, I want to publicly thank you, because I would not be here without you helping me with this dream.
You're welcome, man. Anything I can do.
So tell me, when did you know you wanted to be a DJ?
Ooh. Just a love of music. I didn't think the DJ bug hit me till about 81. That's a long time ago. I was in a trade school, and this guy that was playing the music at the student union, man, he had this song by Cameo, "Why Have I Lost You?"
Oh, one of my favorites.
But it was a different tempo. It was like more of an upbeat tempo. And I was like, man, where did he get that? So I started hanging out with him. So when I got out of that school, I came back home and I met a guy out of Denison, Texas, named of Gary Wimberly, G Magic. Took me under his wing, just, mentored me. And that's, I just fell in love with it. And for years, I thought Al Green was part of my family. My mother had so many Al Green records in the house. So, but it's just been a love of music throughout my whole life. My grandmother ran a country ball.
Oh.
Yes. So, hey, that's the way it goes.
Huh, interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. So after you were under G Money's wing.
G Magic,
what was the process that you followed to become a DJ? Did he start helping you with equipment or
no,
transitions?
The equipment came later. It was more or less the technique of mixing. He started me off with 3 records, and he made me mix those records back and forth, I don't know, for about 2 weeks. Then he would add a record. And after I got about a 30-minute set, he let me open up for him at the club.
Oh. So did your mixing also include scratching? Because
No.
that was huge back then. So no scratching whatsoever, no Technique 1200.
I never really tried to.
Okay.
I'm more of a blender. Try to make my transitions as smooth as possible. Maybe change the song before you even know you're dancing on another song, I never really mastered the art of scratching. I can do a little bit, but there's a bunch of guys out there a lot better than me on that aspect.
I remember when I first heard you play, and I was like, dang, he's a mixologist. Teasing the song, getting me hyped, getting ready for the song, then the song not coming in quite yet, so he's making me anticipate it. And you made me a much better dancer because I had to be patient. I had to be patient to wait to get to the good part of whatever song that you were introducing. And I think that's what made me fall in love with the way that you DJ. And I was like, man, I have to get to know this guy.
Well, I appreciate that.
I want this guy to do some stuff with me.
I remember the first time I met you. I think it was it Addison City Limits? Yeah. I was working with Jerry, and even long before that, people were using my mixtapes for their swing out classes, and I think that's how Jerry met me. He just happened to hear me playing somewhere and heard my name, and he ran up to the DJ booth. Said, "Man, I've been playing your mixes," So it's like that's how that came about with the swing out. And then, like I said, I met you at I think that was Addison City Limits out there off of
Beltline.
Beltline, yeah. And we just hit it off. And then I guess came around. We started working together. So
yeah,
how long this been?
Long time.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, about 13, almost 15 years, maybe a little longer than that.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, you were my big brother. So what did your practice look like when you started practicing? What did that entail?
Oh, man. Every house I had, whether it's a house or apartment, I've always had a 2 or 3 bedroom, and one of them was always my studio. And I would be back there practicing even before, had CDs. It was 1200s, Technique 1200s with all the records, toting these heavy crates everywhere. And back then, the mixers didn't have samplers, so I bought an external sampler, and I was creating stuff back then. But it's always been a practice. Wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning with something in your head and go back there and turn on loud music.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned some of the mentors that you had. How many DJs have you mentored?
It's advice to a lot, but actually just maybe a couple under my wing. It don't work out so well sometimes, I grew up in an era where I don't care how good I be or where I go or whatever I do, I'll never be as good as Gary. That's who I looked up to. So whatever he does is, so sometimes you get guys, they work 2 or 3 weeks or be around you 2 or 3 weeks, and then here come the trickery. So I'd rather just give you some good advice and leave it at that.
and do with it what you will, if anything. There seems to be a lot of, not so much anymore, but in certain circles, animosity.
Yeah, to each his own. I've encountered, I think anybody that's in the entertainment business has encountered, animosity or, some guys, everything about them is competition. I would rather collaborate than compete with you. So I just think that everybody has their own lane. I just happen to know a lot about a lot of lanes. So.
My DJ experience was short-lived. You may not know this, but when I was in the Philippines, we had, you remember the double cassette players?
Yeah, with the pitch control.
Absolutely. So I had the double cassette players, and my mother worked at the Bass Exchange. So she had all the new music that came in from the States. So I always had all the latest music. Everyone always came to our house for parties. And so I called myself making mixtapes, blending them and messing with the pitch. And I thought I could DJ. And then my godbrother, Daryl Lindsay, came over, and he moved me aside, and he goes, "Man, you don't know what you're doing." And he started blending and mixing and splicing and all of that other kind of stuff. And he goes, "Why don't you just let me do this? And you stick to dancing." And I said, "Okay, I will stick to dancing." And I would say, as far as DJs and mixing go, as far as men, you and him, for me, are 1A and 1B. You're both that good. And then another friend of mine named Eric Chapman that was with the Two Live Crew and all of them back in the day. But you are my top 3 as far as men that I don't care what you do, I'm going to be on the floor.
Cool. I appreciate that. I think that there's a lot of guys out there that I admire as far as, what they do as DJs. But, I think everybody has a little arrogance to them. Everybody does, because you want to be good and you want to be confident. You don't let that get in the way. But I think there's a lot of good guys out there that just good. I like to go hear a few guys play, and might hear something that I hadn't played in a long time, So I think that's a good thing, and it's good to have somebody in your corner, I like to watch people dance.
Well, I guess we're a perfect fit, huh?
Well, it's one of those things. I can do the basic steps of swing out, but I'd rather play the music.
Yeah, I know I teased you this month. Someone said they're going to pull you from behind the booth and get you to dance.
Yeah, when they bring the Tootsie Roll back, I'll be ready.
So when did you, after you left your mentor and you finished opening for him, how did your first gig where you got paid come about?
I think I did a house party for some people. I had the turntables. I had a Sansui receiver and 2 Sansui speakers, and I was doing a house party. I think I got paid like $25, and I was just happy to be DJing. Somebody's party. Oh man, y'all want me to DJ? Okay, so I got to be known around my hometown and the area, and I think it was probably maybe 7, 8 years, 9 years went by before I started realizing I can make some money doing it. Mm-hmm. So just traveled around. I traveled around with a band for a number of years, and I was just band's DJ. So I love live entertainment. And we happened to do a show in Terrell, Texas, and the people that had the spot down there wanted me to come back and do a party for them, a New Year's Eve party, matter of fact. And then I'd been down there like 4.5 years. And I ended up in Dallas. It was a couple of guys there, Clint Garland and Mark Pettit. We became great friends, even though we did business, but we also knew how to separate the two. Mm-hmm. One of them asked me for an ink pen. I didn't know who they was at the time. Fast forward a little farther, a friend of mine that's run the door at the executive club, old dude named Mr. Howard. He said, hey, man, they looking for a DJ. So I go in the office. I'm sitting down talking to him. Mark, he's sitting across in front of me at the table. He said, well, where do you play at? Like that. And I told him. Then Clint walks in. He's looking upside my head. I said, man, you know me from somewhere? He said, man, you look familiar. And he said, what do you do, a bouncer? I said, no. I DJ a little bit. So he said, man, I know you from somewhere. And I told him where I played at. He said, man, you don't remember us? You gave us an ink pen? And they hired me to do the happy hour at the executive club on Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays. And they were paying me a lot of money. Paid me enough money that I could do that solely for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And I've always had other skills, but that's how I kind of almost ended up in Dallas a little bit. I worked in South Dallas. My first gig in Dallas was South Dallas, a little club called the Ghetto Club. 1990, I believe. And an unfortunate situation happened one Friday. And when we was released to go home, I didn't go back. I didn't go back. So
I can pretty much imagine what that unfortunate situation was.
But I always tell people that's where South Dallas was one of the places that I kind of groomed my chops,
Okay.
And you've seen me in different places, whether it's huge places with thousands of people or 50 people.
So leading into that, you are a DJ that play multiple genres for
Yes.
multiple groups and audiences that you've invited me to that I've experienced. Do you have a preference of which genre you play?
Nah, I think the adaptability, and me growing up with an old school vibe, whether it's blues, all of it is rhythm and blues. R&B is nothing but rhythm and blues. So as I got older, then the rap came in, the hip hop came in. So I experienced it all. Mm-hmm. So I never really just tune in on just one thing. I just maybe a little fluent with all of them, whether it's hip hop, reggae, a little Latin, a little Zydeco, blues, what they call in Southern Soul now, old school. Love old school funk. So. But I don't really have a preference. Just whatever you throw in front of me, I can handle it.
I knew that you were next level when you probably forgot about this. You were doing a party at SMU.
Oh.
And the crowd was different than what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And you were mixing as if you were mixing R&B, and they were losing their mind.
Yeah. It was a group. I think I did it for 4 years until them guys graduated. They were called Brothers of Christ or something like that. It was weird on how that came about. Matter of fact, Nippy Jones introduced them to me.
Oh.
And those were some great kids. And, man, we used to have a ball. I did all of their functions.
They were on fire.
Yeah.
How would you describe your DJ style other than mixing?
Other than what?
Mixing.
I don't know. I'm more of I pride myself on things just being smooth, just a nice flow. I just say precision, I think. I'm not going to say everything I do is flawless, but, some of the best things in the world have some flaws.
True. I would say that when it comes to perfection, the people that I'm closest to are always the ones seeking it.
Yeah.
You, in your mashups, make me and my classes lose our mind because of all of the musicianship that you put in it. So I ask every DJ this: what is your go-to song? And obviously for you, it's going to depend on the crowd. So feel to share. What's your go-to song when you know you need to get the floor right?
Man. I'm not going to even say a line dance because everybody likes them. And I think that I like to see people dance. Most of the time, old school kind of crosses the whole board. Sometimes you can catch a nice old school song. That, like I said, depends on the mood of the crowd and what you're doing it for. I really couldn't tell you anything about a lot of maybe the younger crowd, because I think I cut everything off around 35. And if anything lower than that, I try to avoid it. So, but I really don't have a go-to song. I just vibe off of what's going on at that particular time.
Okay. Tell me how you got into Southern soul music.
Man, it's really, when you had the traditional jazz, and then the Kenny G's come along, they called it contemporary, and then you had the gospel, and then you had the contemporary gospel. Well, blues was blues. So back in the day, I was mixing blues back in the 80s on vinyl, and it's just, I was doing that then. It's just it wasn't as popular as it is now. So I think in 2012, I want to say it was 2012, I started my YouTube channel. And I was just posting mixes on there. And I have a mix on there that's probably got well over 2 million views, one mix. And it's like, I've had people call me from all over. Man, that's I like that, man. Can you send that to me? You know, whatever. And I have a friend in Atlanta. He told me, he said, you didn't choose Southern Soul chose you. And he's the one that guided me to do YouTube. After I had went to one of the local radio stations and pitched them an idea on a Southern Soul show. I told him, I said, man, you can just give me 2 hours. And I won't even talk about money until we get some sponsorship, because I just feel that strongly about it. And God told me, we don't play that kind of music over here. So that's when the grown folks spot came alive. I started doing it myself on Sundays, and I went from, I think, 22,000 subscribers in 4.5 years to right at 42,000 subscribers now.
Well, let's talk about it. There are some things that we have for you that you brought for us for your podcast and some of the things you do. So we're going to show some of those things and play your theme song and let you talk about them.
Well, this theme song was done by a couple of guys, Chad Jones, they call him Mr. Willie, and Mississippi Humming Boy did the lyrics. The original track is not this one. This track here is done by my cousin, Emac.
Okay.
And he's a great producer. He's done some big things. He's doing some stuff with E40 right now. And this is called What It Do.
Well, let's listen to it then.
Turn your music up real loud. Yeah, wherever you are, it's the only DJ, only one that knows what you like. Knows what you like. No matter where you are, Bubba Rae got listen to sounds of Bubba Rae. You know what it is. It's your number one DJ. Number one hits all day. Sounds of Bubba Rae. You know what it is. It's your number one DJ. Number one hits all day. Sounds of Bubba Rae. You know what it is. It's your number one DJ. Dropping them hits all day. Sounds of Bubba Rae. It's your number one DJ. Dropping them hits all day. Sounds of Bubba Rae. It's your number one DJ. It's your number one hits all day. Sounds of Bubba Rae. You know it's your number one DJ. Dropping them hits all day. Turn up the music loud. Turn your music up. Something they can hear you. Who's the DJ for rock? Tell me who's that number one, that number one. Say go DJ, yo. Go DJ, yo. Say go DJ, yo. Go It's your number one DJ, dropping them hits all day. You're listening to the smooth sounds of Bubba Rae. It's your number one DJ, dropping them hits all day. What to do?
I love that theme song. That is like an intro to Superman getting dressed and putting on his cape.
I got a Superman cape too.
I bet you do. That song motivates me to aspire to where you are in your footsteps. That song is really motivating. So I'm glad. Thank you for the share. Now, we've talked a lot about your DJing, but you're more than just a DJ. I will share with everyone that at all of my events, Bubba Rae has DJ'd my birthday parties with bands, and I didn't know it. I think you all of my birthday parties you DJ'd throughout all the years, and you don't just do music, you do lighting, you do sound for bands. Can you talk a little bit or a lot of bit about that? Because I don't think that people in our community realize that, but you do that abroad for a lot of groups.
Well, my sound company is called Urban Flavor Music Solutions, and I tried to get out of it at one time, but I was talked back into it, and I sold a big system to a guy in Shreveport, I think maybe about 15 years ago. And I bought some smaller stuff. I was just going, okay, I'm not going to do the sound anymore. I'm just going to do the DJing. They used to rent my sound equipment at Billy G's when he had all of his shows, like whether it was Denise LaSalle, whether it was Mel Waiters, whether it was Ollie Woodson, whether it was the Temptation Review. Every live show that he did over there, they rented my sound equipment, and this guy named Ron Smith, him and I would do the sound. We'd set up, he'd work on the boards, and then I'd go up in the booth and DJ the break, so then I learned a lot from working around the bands as far as like even at the Arandas over in the South Side. I call it upscale hole in the wall, because at any given time you would see Johnny Taylor sitting in there, Lucky Peterson, people like that all the time. And there was a guy over there that played in a band named Hal Harris. Rest in peace, Hal. He taught me a lot about running sound. So I just kind of picked it up and started doing a little bit here and there. I don't do it a lot, as far as like maybe a small sets. If it's 500, maybe 1,000 people, I got enough sound to cover it easy, so done some track shows, like the guy Humming Boy that's on my theme song. He had an album release set here, and I ran sound for him as well. I've rented it out a few times, but it's a lot of work, and sometimes you have trouble getting what you really would supposed to charge for it. And there's an industry standard, but sometimes you'll compromise a little bit, but I am available to do that from time to time if I'm not busy. I stay pretty busy.
You're very busy.
But I think it was Lois Martin. She introduced me to Humming Boy and had me to do his album release party. Lois Martin has a podcast too called Cookie Time Live, and she does a lot of Southern Soul artists on her show. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that, and I'm kind of getting back into it a little bit. It's probably going to be something I do more probably next year of running sound, but I have everything I need. I just got to get some of the DJing out of the way. So,
well, I don't think that's going to slow down any. How did your podcast come about?
Yeah, like I said, it was I pitched the show to one of the local stations, and at the time, nobody was feeling the Southern Soul on the radio, and when they told me they didn't want to do that kind of music over there, a friend of mine out of Atlanta, he said, man, why don't you go live on YouTube? I said, I didn't even know you could go live on YouTube. He said, all you have to do is have 1,000 subscribers. And at the time, I had like 22,000 subscribers. And so I think I went live on Facebook maybe 3 times. And I went to YouTube, and it's been great ever since. I have listeners from California to New Jersey every Sunday, anywhere from 200 to 300 people viewing the show the whole 2 hours. And it's been taking me all over the country, from Oklahoma to Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, all around the Texas area. So
D.C.
Yeah, D.C., yeah. I love the D.C. area. I love the go-go. Even though I got, my father's up there, but, man, every time I go up there, they always have a set for me to do up there.
Mm-hmm. So when does your show come on? What days, what time, Central Time?
So every Sunday from 1 to 3, Central Standard. It's a party show. It's really about the virtual chat room. I always say the music is just a plus.
Okay.
So I'm all about, shouting out to fans. If you got a birthday, if you're going through something, you're part of the Grown Folks Spot family. That's just what it is, That's what the show is about, the virtual chat room. And like I said, whenever you hear some good music, that's just a plus.
So you mentioned that the shows that you do, you are one of the busiest DJs I know.
Yeah, a little bit.
A lot bit. So how do you handle, and you probably don't much since you're always gone and busy, but you are headlining on a lot of big stages for a lot of cities and states. You have a scroll of venues you're already booked for to the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, it's just some of them are private events. A lot of them are, some of the events are put on by DJs. And that's why I say, there's some guys out there that I really, grateful for, because they, you rarely get other DJs booking DJs. And, these guys out of Gainesville, they got this social club called Club Sunday. I do about 2-3 parties a year for them. Then when I go to Atlanta a couple of times a year to spend, West Palm Beach, down around the Houston, Beaumont area, Conroe. So, and a lot of these people there, hey man, they want me to come to their city. Well, I live in Texas, right? We know. Just tell us how much it's going to cost.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I figure up whatever it's supposed to be, and that's how I go.
Now, there's another component of it that I've witnessed firsthand when you played. How do you feel about when you're playing, other DJs shazamming?
Go ahead.
Do you care?
No, don't bother me. You hear something nice, you like it. If it can't Shazam, just ask me. I'll tell you who it is.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. And music is for everybody.
I think that's important to note, because I've seen you do it. I'm like, oh, you're just telling me, because it's not a secret. Music is the music.
Yeah.
So I think that just goes to speak to your confidence in your ability to bring other people with you, or to help people out along the way. Because we hear something that I haven't heard that you play, and I'm like, oh, who is that? And I thought I knew music. You're like, oh, you don't know this? And then you'll play it again. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I want that right.
Yeah. I pride myself on R&B. I hear something, and I say, okay, this will work for this set or this event. And sometimes music will come out, and you may have to sit on it for a few weeks or a couple of months, and then you work it in. People do not respond to new music very well. So you have to ease it on them. You have to ease it on them. I had this guy tell me he don't like Southern Soul, but I ease him in there from time to time.
He's talking about me. I am not, as in all transparency, I am not a fan of Southern soul. It has nothing to do with Southern soul. It has to do everything waking up in Vivian Carson's house every morning until I left of blues and Southern soul-ish music all my life. So it's not that I hate music, and please don't judge me, but when I hear the music, we lived overseas, so there was a lot of dusting that had to happen to natural wood. So when I hear Southern soul music, I either hear some smell some liquid gold in my nose,
some lemon pledge,
or some lemon pledge, or some old English, whatever we had to dust with. That smell comes into my presence, and it repulses me. And I love the music because I'm like, oh, I like that. And that's Southern soul, and I was like,
yeah.
Can you not play it as much? Because other people love it.
Some of the guys that's kind of in the Southern soul genre, whatever they're calling it, they're really R&B guys. It just goes back to the roots of soul music and R&B. Good music is good music, no matter how you characterize it.
I agree.
And so you may not know it's Southern soul, so I just don't say anything.
Now, the talking about the dog and the cat and the last $2, I get that.
Yeah, that's the old traditional blues.
That's the old traditional blues.
Yeah.
I've become more moderately accepting of that.
Well, most of the line dancers are Southern soul. A lot of them.
Interesting.
Yeah, the pop, drop, and roll.
Okay.
That's Willie Clayton. And then you got Sexy Man. Then you got If I Back It Up. All of those are Southern soul artists.
Okay, that's why I don't do those line dances.
Well, it's probably not for you.
No, I try to stay in the sexy category as far as line dancing. So I'm with you. So as it relates to, I'm a promoter and we have an amazing relationship. How is it when your interactions of working with other promoters? You mentioned that DJs are other promoters as well.
Well, some promoters you don't have to worry about. I'm not saying that all promoters are great at it. They may be great at, putting a show together, but do they handle their business right? And what I mean by that, you put on a show, if it doesn't do well, it's not the entertainer's fault that it didn't do well. They came to perform, they did their job. So then you hear things about promoters. Unless somebody does something to me personally or do me bad personally, I can only be optimistic about it. But if you hear something, then you keep your eyes and ears open. You don't want to jump into something and then get messed over. But I don't have a problem with it. There were some good promoters out there. The guy that promoted Carson's Live when we was out there, that guy was good, man. And just the guy that ran the place, fire marshal was jacking with him, and I think it lasted about a couple of years.
Couple of years, and the place was a line to get in.
Yeah, 6 o'clock in the evening, it was a line to get in. Yeah, I think we had 3 rooms. I think it was about 1,500 in the main room. That was BMW and TDK.
Right.
I had about anywhere from 500 in my room, and then Phil had about 350, 450 on the patio, all going at one time.
Yeah, it was a consortium of musicianship.
Yeah. So.
And thank God I never had to wait in a line to get in.
Yes. 6 o'clock line wrapped around the building down to the street, so. And when that shut down, I think we moved over to Sting. And at the time, Sting, I think, was a younger adult club. So they didn't have a lot of chairs in there. Grown women are going to sit their purse down, sit their drink down, and walk off. Grown folks want to sit down.
Right.
They're not trying to stand up all night, so that didn't work out too well. So
when you were doing a huge event, what is the platform that you want people to perceive you're DJing at?
I figure just all around, just I try to set a mood to get people involved. Whatever that. Sometimes people have a theme that they want to go by, or criteria that they want to project. And I'm not the one to go against the grain. I'm gonna give you what you ask for. And because some people have, like you said, a brand that they wanna do, and some guys go against the grain and do what they want to do, and it don't work out well for them. So I try to always, whatever you ask for, that's what I'm gonna give you, and leave it at that. So I guess doing a show, you just try to get the people and enjoying themselves, talk to them a little bit. That usually get it. Because people come out like that, they're coming to have a good time anyway.
Right.
So if you can talk a little noise, everything works out okay.
What are you?
I don't do any cussing and nothing like that, but I talk a little noise.
You do sometimes, and I like it. Everyone should know that I don't like my DJs talking a lot. But when they do, it's warranted. Yeah. So I can appreciate that. So I'm glad that they follow that ask of mine. What are your other joys and hobbies? There's a lot of intricacies that you love doing that a lot of people don't know about.
Oh, man.
I know about them.
Man, I love to fish. I shoot pool, bowl a little bit. Man, I like any type of electronic gadget that you can think of. I like it. If you're gonna buy me anything for Christmas, I'd rather for you to get me a gift card to either a music store, Guitar Center, or Best Buy.
That's it.
That's it. Well, Papa Do's. So,
what's the favorite type of fish that you like catching, and what type of bait do you use? Because I have a pond that you haven't been. Well, I have two of them you haven't been to yet.
Well, I've been to it, just hadn't fished in it yet.
Then there's that too.
My favorite fish to fish for is crappie. If I catch a catfish, fine, but I'm not thrilled about it. I'm a crappie bass. I go up to Oklahoma, go striper fishing. I just like fishing, period. Whatever get on the line, if it get caught, it get caught.
In ponds, they don't want you to get crappie and perch together anymore.
Okay.
Because one of them's going to knock the other one out. Because remember when I was getting my pond built, I was like, hey, what kind of fish should I get? And you definitely crappie, bass, perch, catfish. So I told the fishery guy, and he said, well, you're going to need to get one or the other. I would recommend you get these two different types of perch than to get crappie, because they're gonna extinct each other out.
Funny you say that. I went to a pond in Greensville one time. Me and some buddies of mine went to this people pond, and they lived in that. They had two ponds, one in the front of the house and one in the back. They had been there like 10 years, and none of them fish. So they let us fish in there. The fish was so plentiful, they were eating each other. There was so many fish in there, and I think we come out of there with like 2 coolers of bass. Just every time you throw in there, and we were using minnows. I rarely use worms or anything. It's just minnows. Sometimes I jig, but just fish, period.
Well, you laughed at me when I told you I was afraid to fish in my pond in the back because it probably has some 20-pound catfish back there. I still need to get back there and get a fish monitor back there to see what's in there so I can turn that tank over, because I'm afraid to fish for a man-eater back there. Now, there's something else people don't know about you. You cook really well.
I do a little bit.
You do a bit. How did you get into cooking? And what do you like to prepare? What's your go-to? Do you have any go-to dishes? Because every time you tell me, I said, what'd you do? I cook. Oh, what'd you cook? Since we both cooks.
I like to do oxtails, short ribs. Those are my go-to, really. But I try a lot of different dishes. We'll try it out. Me and Vicky, my wife, we call it make it or break it. She may try something and I try something, but Cooking, I used to hang around my mother all the time in the kitchen and watching her. And then I think when I got old enough, me and one of my aunts, we worked at a nursing facility. I think I worked 7 to 3. I was head dietitian, and she was head dietitian on 3 to 11. So I've been cooking a long time.
I didn't know you were a dietitian.
See?
Always finding out something on the couch. So the last time you fixed oxtails, didn't you smoke them?
I sear them real well, and I cook them in a Dutch oven.
Okay.
And I like spicy, so it's going to be a little spicy. And after they cook maybe about 2.5 hours, then I add my veggies, do some rice, and there we go.
Okay. What advice would you give women or any man that wants to DJ, that's starting out? Would you give them advice on their craftsmanship or their type of equipment to consider or not? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them, first thing, get the best equipment money can buy, that you can buy. If you can only afford some beginner stuff, then okay, that's you. You'll eventually get there. But I think practice, work on your mixing skills. If you want to learn how to scratch, that can come later. But work on your mixing skills and just practice. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. Nothing beats failure but a try. So that's what my mother used to always tell me. So,
that's good advice.
Some guys get discouraged because they have a bad night and it may not go well for them. So they may get scared or get discouraged, but you can't do that. You're going to have bumps. Shit, I've been DJing all this time and I still have some bad nights, but you work your way through it. Everybody does. You may not want to be there at that time, or somebody say something to you that you didn't like or get on your nerves. That just comes with part of it.
So as you're reading the room when you're DJing and someone says something slick to you, does that throw you off? Do you have to refocus to stay behind the booth to continue doing what you're there for, or does that distract? How do you overcome that distraction?
It doesn't really bother me too much. Somebody might request something and play it right now. Well, it all depends on what the song is, but request doesn't bother me. Because I can do that, and then if it calls for a little lingo in between that, boom, go right back to what I was doing. So that part, I can say it probably doesn't bother me. Don't too much, really break my rhythm too much. So.
When you are tell me about a friend of mine, DJ Lady Love, sent me a reel today about DJs, about people think that DJs just show up. And this reel had from beginning to end of packing the trailer. So tell me, when you're getting ready to go do a gig, and so when you do gigs for me, the gig is from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.-ish, and you're there by 8 doing music checks, but that's just not where you start. So tell me, from beginning, when you were gonna DJ, to you loading up and unloading, what's that timeline? What does that look like? What's all entailed in that?
If it's a plug and play where they have equipment already and all I have to do is just come, I'm gonna always try to get there an hour early. You never know, what's going on. Make sure that everything is working okay. But if I have to take equipment, I always ask the people, can I what's the earliest I can get in there? If the gig starts at 9 and you got an event building all day long, I'd rather get in there at noontime, set up where I can go back home and relax. Or if it's out far, make sure I have a hotel room where I can go and change and come back. Because if some guys will get there, if it starts at 9, they'll get there at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and you could forget something, or anything could go down, you know. So I've driven way to Fort Worth and forgot my power card. So I end up buying an extra one just to keep in my bag without having to worry about it, you know. So DJs are the first one there and the last one to leave, period. And people think oh, you're doing just playing music. Yeah, but it's a lot going to it. If the average person say, well, how much you charge to do this, how much you charge to do that, and you give them a price, that they right off the bat they're going to think that's too much. Most people always do. And if you go out and buy you some decent speakers, buy your laptop if you're using a laptop, buy your controller if you're using a controller or some turntables, then go buy your truck to haul it. Well, I'm just doing one gig. Well, okay. You don't want to spend the money to do that, so you have to hire somebody to do it, so their price is their price. Mm-hmm. You either want champagne or you want Thunderbird.
You go pay for what you get.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How can someone book you?
Either email or you can hit me up on Facebook. My phone number is 469-585-5061. Or DJ Bubba Rae at sbcglobal.net. Same thing on Facebook. Or I do have a music store. You can buy my mixes. DJBubbaRaemusic.com. And there's jazz mixes, R&B, old school, Southern soul.
And you're also on Mixcloud, correct?
I don't be on there as much anymore. Sometimes
okay.
I post a mix on there from time to time, but I really hadn't had time to even do any of that here lately. So, but I got to get in the lab.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm begging you to. I am so excited that you came out here and hung out with me on the couch. We want to talk about the graduation coming up. So for those of you who do not know, I haven't done a graduation in 6 years. And a graduation is not what you would consider a typical graduation like high school. It's all about dance. So it's about the performances. Insatiable Elegance will be performing. There will be multiple professional groups performing. It is at a 4-star hotel, which is the Radisson, formerly known as the Intercontinental Hotel. And so it's a night of performances. It's a date night out. It's a dress night out. It's a hangout night out of brilliant performances. The attires after 5. Please, please, please do not procrastinate. This event will sell out, and tables are selling out quickly. So this event is August 23rd, and we are in May. By June, this event will probably be sold out. So please don't hesitate to get your tickets. You can Zelle me. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's X now, not Twitter. So you can find us on all of those things. But Insatiable Elegance, it's going to be brilliant performances, world-class dancers, delicious food, ambiance unparalleled. So please come out, support us. You can Zelle me. Tickets are all $100. My phone number is 972-877-0284. You can Zelle, as well as you can find this flyer out and about. So we want to thank you for joining us on The Groove. Next week, we will have Benny Hicks. He is the president of the SDS Gents. He will be sharing his journey and his organization's nonprofit journey with us. And so we look forward to you all tuning in. Thank you for joining us on the couch. Thank you for hanging out with us on The Groove. Bubba Rae, my big brother, my mentor, my friend.
What it do?
Thank you so much for coming out. Tune in to A Southern Soul every week on YouTube, and you will have a treat. And please visit his store. And understand his mixes have drops, so you can't steal them. Rightfully so. They're trademarked. So, again, thank you for joining us. Look forward to you all hanging out with us next week on the couch. Until then, stay blessed and be at peace. God bless.